everybody? Naylor904 here, and today we'll be reviewing Dawn FM, the new album by The Weeknd. The Weeknd released After Hours and at the beginning of the pandemic in March 2020. It was a pretty big hit for The Weeknd. It was the last thing he released until this new album came out a week ago. And so we never really saw anything about the pandemic or anything really in The Weeknd's music, except for the single Take My Breath. But besides that, we really haven't seen anything about the pandemic or anything in his catalog about that. But this album sort of addresses it on the first song with Jim Carrey on the album, saying that you've been in the dark way too long, kind of being the host of this radio station, which is kind of the concept for this album. The idea that this is a radio station, which is a little nostalgic, bringing back kind of the idea of the radio and listening to the radio. And Jim Carrey, The Weeknd, Abel chooses Jim Carrey as to be the voice of the radio station host, and Jim Carrey obviously nails it. It's really funny at points in the album. And so the album kind of starts off with a little singing from Abel on the opening track, the title track, Dawn FM, but also with a little intro from Jim Carrey. And this really starts to set up the album, as then we get into music. And I will say this album does pull off what it tries to do, which is to be a radio. The transitions are amazing on this album. Each song flows into the next, and even when there's a time that there really wouldn't be a good flow into the next song, then they insert Jim Carrey to announce the next song or to announce whatever, and that introduces the next song. And it's a really great idea, and it really is nostalgic. You know, I remember being a kid when I would listen to the radio, and the radio is a thing that's kind of gone now, but The Weeknd kind of brings it back on this album, which is pretty awesome. Kind of just to talk about the next track, Gasoline. Abel, throughout this album, but not too much, but his singing is a lot different, especially on the track Gasoline, the second track on the album. He kind of has a deep, kind of weird sounding voice, but it really grabs your attention and is still really good singing. And it's a pretty ballsy decision by Abel to change his singing like that, you know, especially this late in his career where, you know, he's 31, he's been making music for over a decade. But I think it works out. Also in songs like the third track, Make You Feel My Love. His singing is a little different. That one may be a little harder to tell. Also in the song I Heard You're Married, his singing is a lot different. And there's snippets here and there from in the album, but very interesting decision, but it really works out. And throughout the big thing with this whole album is the production. The production on this thing is insane. You know, you have different producers on this album. A big one is Swedish House Mafia. They produced the third song, Make You Feel My Love. And this album throughout the whole thing just sounds so great. Kind of going back to the Weeknd's kind of older stuff, kind of that new Canada stuff coming out of Canada, from kind of like Drake Take Care type stuff to and his debut album House of Balloons, kind of sounding like that, but also it's not completely like that. Obviously they mix that in with the newer sound, and it's a really good mix, and it makes for a really great sound throughout the album. Driving while listening to this thing is so amazing. It just feels like this album just takes you to another world. It just feels like you're in a racing game. It makes you feel a lot of things. It makes you feel like you're in a racing game. It makes you feel like you're in the future. It also kind of makes you feel like you're in the past, because it's like a radio station. And the beats, like I said, kind of sound like 2011 Canada stuff. This album takes you to a place, and it keeps you there for 54 minutes, and that's a really testament to this album. And then the fourth song, Take My Breath, which is a pretty amazing song. When I first heard it, I wasn't too big on it. I definitely liked it, but I kind of thought it's just a typical, you know, pop Weeknd song. But it's really grown on me. The opening, they extend the song. They made the opening longer and the closing longer for the album, and I think it's a great decision. It kind of adds more tension, more to the song, and more excitement. And it really is a great song, and I think it definitely is like the COVID anthem. I think it's in the future, when we look back to now, I think we're gonna think that this is a big song of COVID-19. You know, and it is an amazing song. And then it goes to Sacrifice, which Sacrifice's bass line is amazing. I could listen to that thing all day. Just such a catchy bass line, and then Abel singing is just amazing on that song. Truly a great track. The only flaw in that song is the fact that it's only 3 minutes. I think that song should be longer. Then it takes a bit of a change to A Tale of Quincy, where we kind of learned some stuff about Quincy's past, which a lot of people haven't known. I don't think anyone's ever really known. Talking about his mom and talking about his struggle of being a parent. It's a good transition into the song Out of Time, which is personally probably my favorite song on this album. This song, like I said, just takes you to a place. It is just the beat, the singing of Abel. It is just an amazing song from front to back. It kind of goes back to the bit of an older roots, not completely the old roots, but like Starboy 2016 stuff. I Feel It Coming. It kind of is a song that's a little bit like that. It takes you back to a place like that, and the song sounds very similar, but also is different, and it's an amazing song. Midway through this album, then we get to Here We Go Again with Tyler the Creator as the Future on this song, and this is a good song. It's not personally one of my favorites on this album, but it definitely does its job in the middle. I personally don't really like Tyler the Creator's verse. I think his verse he achieves what he sets out to do, and it works for the song. But I just think that his delivery is just a little. I don't know. It's a little. His verse is a little in your face, which I get is the point. But on an album like this, I don't think that the Tyler the Creator should really be on an album like this. But it's not too big of an issue, as it's very subtle and a very short verse on this song and on this album. And then we go to a song, Best Friends, which is a interesting song. A song about Abel basically talking about how this girl that he's with doesn't want to have sex with him anymore, and so basically he just wants to be friends with her. He doesn't want to be anything more than that. It's a song talking about how he's friend zoning a girl, and it's kind of like, wow, Abel. Some of the lines on this song is like, wow, toxic, man, toxic. But a great song nonetheless. A great beat. Then we get to a song, Is There Someone Else, and Starry Eyes, which kind of play as two songs that are basically one, have the same beat. Is There Someone Else? That's a great song. The singing is amazing. The beat's amazing. Basically, Abel talking about to his girl, is there anyone else that I love you so much, but honestly, is there someone else that you have? Because if not, then let's make this thing more serious. Basically, is what he's talking about. And then you have Starry Eyes, which is basically a continuation, which is a good song. I mean, it's probably one of the weak points in the album, but still good. Then you have Don't Break My Heart, which is a interesting song, talking about the Weeknd's kind of drug problem, which we've heard a lot, in his career. This is another addition to it, and it's a great song. Great songwriting. The songwriting on this song is probably the best written song on this album. The lyrics are amazing. It really tells a story. And then you have I Heard You're Married, which is another great song. But the only problem is Lil Wayne's verse is pretty bad on this song, which it's kind of hard to be too critical, because he's a legend. Lil Wayne's a great rapper, but he just does not hit it. He does not hit his spot here. Really kind of ruins the song with just terrible lyrics, terrible bars of they say that you're dirty and I'm dirty Harry, like that is. And I kill your hubby, no hubcap. Like, it's terrible lyrics, terrible delivery. And just in general, even if the lyrics were good, which they're not, but even if the lyrics were good, it's not really this song should not have a rap feature. The beat doesn't really, like, the rapping doesn't really work with the beat. I don't know, maybe if you get Kanye in the song, maybe if you get another rapper that can rap on this beat, then maybe, but I think in general, it's really hard to rap on this beat, and Lil Wayne obviously does not do it. But, like I said, kind of subtle, kind of like Tyler, the Creator's verse, kind of subtle, and it doesn't change too much of the album. Then you have Less Than Zero, which is a song which kind of sounds like The Strokes. Kind of sounds like an alternative song. And there's acoustic guitar at the end, and it really sets you up for the finale, which is Phantom Regret by Jim, where just straight poetry. And I don't know if Jim Carrey writes it, but if he does, that's some pretty solid stuff, and maybe he should pursue screenwriting or writing in general. He just ends the album off with on a really good note. The album, kind of the theme of the album, when it hits the song "Every Angel is Terrifying," kind of goes into this like afterlife, what happens after we die type direction, and it's pretty good. Not gonna lie, they have some great songs on that side after uh, "Every Angel is Terrifying." The album kind of ends off like that, you know. With regret, basically saying like, did you waste your time worrying about people? Did you waste your time doing useless things that don't matter? And it's a good question, and it's a great end to the album. I kind of have a little concern with it though, because I feel like The Weeknd should close it out. I don't think Jim Carrey should close it out. I mean, Jim Carrey definitely has a big spot on this album, and what he adds is great. But I just feel that The Weeknd should have really took the mic and ended it off, because I mean it is his album after all. But not too big of a deal. And the last song is great, and it ends the album off on a great note. Kind of some problems I have with this album. I think the songwriting is not too good. I mean, the songwriting is good, but I think After Hours is a better written album. Starboy is a better written album. But it's not too big of a deal. Like, the songwriting is still great on this album, but I just think it could have been a little better. But this is a really big album, and it's a really great way to start this year of 2022. And I will say that after hearing this thing, I think it could be The Weeknd's best album. Like, just everything comes together, and it's just such a great album. And I don't know yet. I haven't made decisions. My favorite before this was House of Balloons, so I'm not really sure if I like this more, but I gotta give it more listens. Obviously, gotta give it more time. I mean, it just came out, but a great album, and it's pretty encouraging to see that The Weeknd is still making solid music this kind of late into his career. Not that he's like super old, but he's 31. He's getting up there, and so unfortunately, a lot of people are probably going to copy this whole making an 80s type album for the next 2-3 years. That's going to be annoying. People trying to copy this album, but a great achievement by The Weeknd, a great project in his catalog, and I give it an 8.2 out of 10. And so, tell me what your thoughts are on this album. Leave a comment in the comment section, and have a good day.